7. What do these statements tell you about Anne Frank as a person? 1. We don't seem to be able to get any closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. Answer. This statement reveals several aspects about Anne Frank as a person. 1. Self-reflection. Anne shows a strong sense of self-awareness and introspection. She recognizes that there is a problem with her relationships and is willing to consider that she might be at fault for the lack of deeper connection with others. 2. Desire for closer relationships. Anne expresses a longing for closer, more meaningful relationships. She feels a sense of distance between herself and her friends and is troubled by the inability to confide in them. 3. Responsibility and guilt. Anne takes personal responsibility for the situation, suggesting that she might be the reason why her relationships are not as close as she would like them to be. This indicates that she holds herself accountable for her social interactions and their outcomes. Overall, this statement shows that Anne is thoughtful, seeks deeper connections with others, and is introspective about her relationships and her role in them. 2. I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would, but I want the diary to be my friend. Answer. This statement reveals several key aspects of Anne Frank's character. 1. Desire for emotional connection. Anne wants her diary to be more than just a record of facts. She sees it as a potential friend, indicating her need for an emotional connection and a space where she can freely express her feelings. 2. Creative approach. Anne's intention to make her diary a friend, rather than just a factual record, shows her creativity and imagination. She aims to use her diary as a personal outlet where she can share her thoughts and emotions in a more intimate and expressive manner. 3. Need for confidentiality. By treating the diary as a friend, Anne values the privacy and confidentiality it offers. She uses it as a safe space to confide her deepest thoughts and feelings without the fear of judgment or misunderstanding. Overall, this statement highlights Anne's desire for a deep, personal connection through her diary and her creative approach to using it as a means of emotional expression. 3. Margot went to Holland in December, and I followed in February, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. Answer: this statement provides insight into Anne Frank's feelings and perspective. 1. Sense of displacement. Anne's reference to being plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot suggests that she felt somewhat like an afterthought or an addition rather than an eagerly awaited member of the family. This indicates a possible feeling of displacement or being secondary. 2. Family dynamics. The way Anne describes her arrival in Holland reflects the dynamics within her family. It implies that Margot's birthday was a significant event, and Anne's arrival was somewhat incidental to this celebration. 3. Childlike perspective. The statement conveys a childlike simplicity and honesty in how Anne describes her own arrival. It shows how she perceived and interpreted the situation from her young age, adding a personal touch to her recounting of the event. Overall, this statement gives us a glimpse into Anne's experience of moving to a new country and how she perceived her arrival in relation to her sister's birthday, reflecting her feelings of being an additional part of the family's significant event. 4. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back, but teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. Answer: this statement from Anne Frank provides insights into her views and personality. 1. Critical view of classmates. Anne expresses a candid and somewhat critical opinion about her classmates, suggesting that many of them are not performing well and should be held back. This reflects her honest and sometimes blunt assessment of her peers' abilities. 2. Frustration with unpredictability. Anne's comment about teachers being unpredictable creatures shows her frustration with the inconsistency and unpredictability she perceives in their decisions. It reveals her skepticism about how educational judgments are made and her awareness of the variability in teacher behavior. 3. Realism and humor. The statement has a touch of humor in Anne's characterization of teachers as unpredictable creatures. It suggests that she approaches situations with a mix of realism and a sense of humor, using these traits to cope with and critique her environment. Overall, this statement highlights Anne's critical thinking, her frustration with the educational system, and her ability to use humor in her observations. 5. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. Answer. This statement from Anne Frank reveals several aspects of her personality and approach to challenges. 1. Analytical thinking. Anne demonstrates her analytical skills by recognizing that merely filling pages with words is not enough. She understands that making a compelling argument requires thoughtful consideration and convincing reasoning. 2. Determination and creativity. Her focus on finding convincing arguments to justify talking shows her determination and creative approach to problem solving. Instead of taking the easy route, she strives to craft a well-reasoned and effective essay. 3. Self-awareness. Anne's awareness of the need to provide convincing arguments indicates a level of self-awareness and a desire to address the topic in a meaningful way. It also reflects her confidence in her ability to articulate and defend her perspective. Overall, this statement highlights Anne's critical thinking, creativity, and determination to tackle challenges thoughtfully and effectively.